Hello there, Fisaya here. Welcome back to my channel. On this channel I talk about faith, lifestyle. I also review books and magazines. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are keeping safe wherever you are. We're all praying that this whole pandemic thing, just disappears so that we can have our lives back to normal. So today I'm going to be talking about something a bit different, a bit that's come to my mind recently, and I think having worked with youth and young adults for over 10 years now is kind of some of the questions that I've been asked as a teacher, as a leader, by the grace of God, and also sometimes from the parents' perspective. So I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I find would help, some of the things that I've gathered over the years as a result of training, or as a result of the books I've read, or as a result of conversations with my leaders or mentors, people that have been able to go through this path successfully. So let's get started. So the first thing I would like to say is, most importantly, for your own sanity and also for the sanity of your teenagers or youth or young adults, the first thing is that they give their lives to Jesus. Because I believe personally, if your life has a direction, then it's easy for your child or your young adult or your youth or your teenager to follow suit. God gives direction, the Bible gives direction, and I personally think that there's some things or heartache or difficulties you're going to save yourself if you actually help your child to be led to the Lord, like letting him know the Lord for himself or herself. And so that's one of the first things that I think is going to help you personally. The next one is, don't take their rebellions or their reluctance to communicate for outright rebellion. Now, the teenagers we're talking about here is, they're not children. They're not it's kind of a transition stage, I would say, because they're not children and also they're not yet adults. So it's kind of smack bang in the middle. And that can pose a challenge on its own, because sometimes they make choices, they make decisions that they can't even explain themselves. So one of the things is, don't take their reluctance to communicate as an outright rebellion. Don't think, oh, this child is so rebellious, this child doesn't want to talk to me, he doesn't want to listen to me. You need to give them that time, you need to give them that space, you need to give them that opportunity. Another thing is, sometimes your teenager might get a bit withdrawn. It's normal, and you're not the only one going through this as a parent. Okay? You're not the only one going through this, trust me. Sometimes they might just want to be on their own, they want to be by themselves, and when you ask them questions, they don't really even have an answer to why they are behaving the way they are behaving. So sometimes they might want to keep to themselves. It's absolutely normal. Give them the time, and then go back to, encourage them to go back to what it used to be. But if it's getting prolonged, maybe not years, maybe days and weeks, and they are just by themselves in their room, locked up, don't want to talk to people, then you need to raise an alarm. You need to let somebody know. You need to speak to somebody. Another thing is, you need to learn to give them their own space. Sometimes, maybe when they're much younger, they want to talk to you about everything that has happened. But when they become teenagers, they just want to be on their own. Give them their own space, like I said earlier on. But if it's getting longer than normal, then you need to speak to somebody, maybe somebody that you think might help them. Now, pick your battles. What do I mean by picking your battles? Are you going to yell or shout at your teenager because your teenager has done something really small? Or are you going to yell at them, when they do something, maybe going into drugs, abuse, terrorism, all of those things, when are you going to shout? When are you going to yell? See, if you yell easily, if you shout easily for random things, maybe they've put their shoes in the wrong place, or they haven't laid their bed, yes, or they haven't switched on the dishwasher, or they haven't done their chores. If you yell all the time, it won't make much difference when they have actually done something that you need to shout for, okay? And sometimes some of these things are not even, requiring you to shout that much. It's just a case of you understanding why your teenager has done what they have. So you need to let them know when you raise your voice that is something that you really, really need their attention for. Another thing is, have boundaries, make them clear, and stick to it, okay? When you're really upset, it's not the best time to correct them. I also I feel guilty, and I've had to call some of them to say sorry. So when you're really upset, when you're really annoyed, that's not the time to correct them. That's not the time to shout to speak to them. Calm down, let them also calm down, then have a dialogue. Maybe speak to your teenager, speak to him or her. What you've done is absolutely not acceptable. We don't do that. Let them know, and also have your own boundaries and let them stick to it, okay? Now, if they break any boundary, let's agree on the consequences, okay? So maybe in your family you've agreed that 9 o'clock, that's it, you are not outside the house past 9 o'clock. Before you make that rule, or when you're making that rule, you need to tell your child, right, if you go past 9 o'clock, that's you grounded for 2-3 days, however you feel your consequences should be. Then you need to let your child know, make it clear, let them understand where you stand. And once they go past 9 o'clock, they know that the consequences await them. Please, please, please don't let them plead with you to break that rule, because once you break a rule for one child, it's difficult to keep it for the other child. So if the child has gone past 9 o'clock, let them know that they have to face the music, they have to face the consequences, and that's it. In fact, before they get home, you already know what the consequences are. So have your boundaries and stick to it. Another thing you need to understand is that sometimes some of us, or most of us, fall victim. We treat outsiders better. We treat outsiders better than we treat our family members, better than we treat our children, better than we treat our teenagers. So for instance, somebody comes to visit, or you see somebody out there and you're so very all over that person, you're so excited about that person, and your child is just standing right next to you. You haven't even said well done for what the child has done. You haven't even gone the extra mile to say well done to the child or to praise the child. It's not okay. I'm also learning that your child, your family, your teenager is what you have. Let them know let them praise them, let them know you appreciate them, let them understand that you love them with the whole of your heart. Let them understand that your own imperfections as well, that you're not perfect, but you're trying your best. But most importantly, don't treat outsiders better than you treat your own children, better than you treat your own teenager. And I hope that some of these things I've said will go a long way to help and restore relationship between you and your teenagers. Don't forget, if you like what you've seen or heard, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. Let's keep the channel going. But most importantly, whatever you do, make sure you keep going, keep moving, and don't stop. Till I see you next time. Bye.